It's time for our Star Chart!
So here are our favourite space news stories over the past month. In at number 5, the European Space Agency's Gaia satellite has been hit by lots of micrometeoroids.
Ooh, sinister.
I know, but these are grains of space dust which have struck the spacecraft while it tries to map the billions of stars in our galaxy. Don't know if you know that the Earth is surrounded by space debris. There's about 300,000 pieces of artificial junk, along with cometary dust and bits of asteroid circling the Earth. Now, the spacecraft is undamaged as yet, but it's something scientists need to be aware of when launching future spacecraft. So we need to clear up not just on the Earth, but around the Earth as well.
And in at number 4, the European Space Agency spacecraft Venus Express has been mapping Venus since 2006 and was sent on one final mission into the Venusian atmosphere to analyse the change in density at lower altitudes. It has dropped to a height of 130 kilometers above the surface, and it's experiencing an atmospheric density 1,000 times greater than its initial height of 160 kilometers, and the temperature is now a boiling 100 degrees Celsius. In its 8-year mission, it studied the atmosphere of this hostile world and made maps of the surface temperature throughout 3,000 orbits. And scientists want to bring it back up to a higher orbit, but eventually it's going to run out of fuel and will plunge back down towards the surface. And I think that's the end of
Poor Venus Express. But it's done a good job, I've got to say. It's a very good spacecraft. Okay, in at number 3, another ESA spacecraft called Rosetta. We're very excited about this one. We'll be visiting Comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko.
Well done in pronouncing that one.
Oh yeah, that's a long comet. Eventually it'll release a small lander onto the surface. Now, it's been taking photographs. Rosetta's been taking photographs of the comet as it approaches, and we can reveal that the comet nucleus has a rubber ducky shape.
It's a bit big, though.
It is a bit big. It's 3.5 by 4 kilometres big, so you definitely couldn't put that in your bathtub, Brendan.
No, I'll pass on that one. And in at number 2, there are dwarf galaxies that have been found to orbit larger galaxies in a disc shape and not as a swarm of bees, as previously thought. Gravity brings galaxies closer together, and sometimes they collide with each other, and sometimes smaller dwarf galaxies end up in orbit around larger galaxies.
Is it like Mummy and Baby Galaxy?
Yeah, I like that. It's 2 famous dwarf galaxies that you might have heard of before that orbit the Milky Way. They're called the Large and Small Magellanic Clouds, and these can be seen from the southern hemisphere, sort of like 2 little tufts off from the ordinary Milky Way in the sky. And the results from this latest study mean that cosmologists need to rethink the physical processes that occur within these environments, as we can't currently explain why they move the way they move.
And that is how science works. Often we have lots of questions and we try to answer questions. And absolutely. And finally, in at number 1, NASA's Curiosity rover has discovered, get this, a 2-metre wide lump of iron meteorite on the surface of Mars. Now, it's not the first time a meteorite has been seen on Mars. Curiosity's predecessors, Spirit and Opportunity, have seen a few before, but this is the largest one seen so far. Now, they're very easy to spot against the background of the red soil. Iron meteorites on Earth are often found in the desert or near the poles because they stand out because of their dark appearance. And they initially come from the asteroid belt, which we believe was a failed rocky planet orbiting the Sun between Mars and Jupiter. Flying bits of asteroid can cause problems for us on Earth if they're more than 100 metres wide. Now, you might have noticed that we don't have dinosaurs rocking around, and that's because they were wiped out after a large rock impacted the Earth 65 million years ago.
So I guess space is beautiful, but also a little bit dangerous. And that concludes our Star Chart for August. We'll see you next month with more space news.